Hey everyone, I'm Kev and welcome to this week's Draw Along. This week we're going to be doing something a bit different. We're not going to be looking at drawing like a person or a character. We're going to be looking at drawing guns and explosions. So I'm just going to take you through how to design your own laser gun and then the effects a laser gun would have on its enemy. So we'll do an explosion as well. So without further ado, let's kick in. So, to begin with, I'm going to draw an horizon line. And I'm going to put 2 points on it, and these are our 2 vanishing points. So, we're going to build our weapon along these vanishing points. And this is drawing the gun in perspective. So, we're going to be drawing the weapon in perspective. And this is called 2-point perspective, which we are using. So, I'm just making a grid here, which I shall speed along for you. So there we go, we got our perspective grid, 2-point perspective grid. So that means 2 vanishing points are along the horizon line, and all these lines converge back to either one of the vanishing points. And I'm just going to highlight the horizon line in green here so we can see it better. Kind of mixed in with the blue to begin with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity of this layer so we can still see the guidelines. And now I'm going to start drawing my shapes in. So start off with like a rectangle shape. And see, as you see, all lines converge back to that horizon line. Okay, let me speed this up a bit for us. So yeah, I'm going to start off with drawing these shapes. And we're using just regular geometric shapes. There's a little curve for the handle. So think of everything when you're building your laser gun. Think of blocks and cylinders, like we do with when we create characters. I'm going to add a circle in here for the barrel of the laser gun. To draw a circle in perspective, I kind of draw this square grid. So I start off by doing a cross within the square, then working out where the center is from the horizontally and vertically. And this is where I messed up a bit. So we're going to stop here and I'm going to skip ahead. Right, so yep, I'm starting that barrel of the gun again. And I'm going to make it a bit shorter. Before it looked like it wasn't kind of aiming towards where I wanted it to aim. So again, I'll start off with kind of a rectangle shape, a block, and then I'll go in and turn it into a cylindrical shape. So I needed that circle at the bottom, the ellipse at the bottom. Sorry, that's an ellipse, not a circle. To be a bit larger than the square at the end of the rectangle. As you can see, now I'm just noodling around, adding little bits and pieces to decorate my laser gun. Change that end bit to be a bit more of an octagonal shape. Is it an octagon? Yeah, let's call it an octagon. I can't be bothered to count the sides. I believe it's 4 sides. So we have more of an octagonal shape rather than just kind of a bulky rectangle shape. And all these lines now as well, which I'm adding it in. So anything I'm adding, so I'm putting in along the gun is going to go back to one of those 2 vanishing points. I guess if it's on, say, like here we go, the left side of the screen, it's going back to that left that horizon point 1, as you can see. So even like my shadows and stuff will converge back to a vanishing point. And yeah, just mess around with this bit. You see, yeah, it's your laser gun. You just mess around and create what you want to create. Like, I thought the handle was a bit too small, so I've made it a bit bigger, but then I changed my mind again. So yeah, I'm getting to a point where I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to ink it, and then we're going to come back and we're going to fire a laser from our laser gun. Okay then, so here we are. We have our laser gun, and I've drawn someone just holding it. Not the greatest hand in the world drawn, but for the sake of this drawing, it'll do. So right, we're going to draw a laser bolt coming out of the gun. Again, we're going to follow our perspective grid. So there's our perspective grid. It's going to come back here. So we're going to be following from this line here. Alright, let's turn that opacity up. Right, so let's delete that, get a new layer, and let's start drawing it. So let me just do this on my, I'm going to erase that. So we're going to, the bolt's going to be shooting on that kind of trajectory. That's a hard word to say. And then the other end's going to come out this way, and the top part's going to come out here. And then let's just round that off. Let's erase those lines there. Let's make that eraser larger. There we go. Boom, boom. And then I can just fill that in there. Right, so there's our laser bolt coming out of the gun. Yeah. Just follow that curve. So it looks like it's coming out of the gun and not anywhere else. So we need to make this look a bit cooler. That looks naff. Yeah, so when doing this on, say, like, if you're drawing it digitally, there's so many things that you can use. If we're using a, for example, you're using Procreate, there's the luminance brush. So let's use this light brush, for example. And I'm going to alpha lock this layer as well, so I don't go over any lines. Actually, no, I need it on. No, it'll do for now. Right, so this light brush gives us a light effect. So I want to make it, that line's a bit too small. So that kind of looks like a laser beam shooting out of the gun. If you don't have Procreate and you want to do something similar to that, we can always go on. Let's go on a new layer. Let's pick white. So if you're doing this on like Photoshop as well, let's just get my regular. There's a regular brush, round paintbrush. There we go. That'll do. And let's make it bigger. Let's just do a few lines. And you can go on to, so on Procreate, on Photoshop, they got a Gaussian blur thing you can use, and on here there's a Gaussian blur as well you can use. And there we go, it gives it like a kind of light thing. If you're drawing traditionally, markers, pens, pencils especially, you can blend it in. So you could blend your let me just go on here. Let's make the background green a minute. And what you could do is you can do, actually we got pencil crayons on here, so yep, you could go on there and you could start like drawing whites, and then you could go pinker, and then a different pink. So you can start kind of blending things in as well. So yeah, you'll be able to do that with pencils and finger smudging as well. So yeah, there we go. That's your laser gun shooting. You can also add in different little bits. So let's go back on this layer. Let's go back onto my my regular pen, and you can start just adding little lines like that to show it's shooting. These lines don't, because they're kind of coming out, they don't have to follow that perspective grid that we have there. Another things you could do, let's get them, make it lighter pink, kind of like a laser. So if it's like a laser gun, there could be crackles coming off it. It's up to you. So yeah, that's how we draw a laser gun. What I'm going to do next is let's draw an explosion as well, and again that'll be using a perspective grid. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, lastly, to finish this video, we're going to draw an explosion. So again, I've got a perspective grid up here, but what I'm going to do is I am just going to nick one side of this perspective grid. So I'm going to just go on here, let's make it larger. And again, we're going to draw a 1 point perspective for this one. So that means I'm just going to get my pencil, and I'm just going to have lines coming out of here. So already it kind of looks like a blast. So there's my perspective grid. Right. So how are we going to draw the explosion? Well, really, it's kind of up to you, depending on what kind of explosion you want. So I could put in some, let's go back actually onto this layer, put in some guidelines. So from here I want one circle, and there's another circle. So that's where I can start kind of colouring things in for my blast. So I'm going to go on here, and then I'm going to just I'm going to lower the opacity first so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to go in and start drawing it. So let's get a, I don't want to use, just go in and use my Blackburn brush. I like my Blackburn brush. So the inside of the circle, that will be lighter, and the outside will be darker. So I'm going to go in with my brush here, and then I'm going to incrementally make it lighter. Actually, let's go back. Let's go back again. Oh, there we go. So yeah, we're going to start making it lighter. I'm going to do it along the colour wheel, so it gets a bit more yellow in the centre, till it's actually kind of like white. And then if I put the opacity up, we have kind of this eggy shape. So I mean, it looks like an explosion, but not much going on. What I'm going to do now is to draw like the explosion in Procreate as well. Make it, again, this is a very simple explosion. You just go down here. I'm going to use my smudge tools, and I'm going to get I'll just use a studio pen for this, and I'm going to start smudging it out along those lines there, just to make it look like there's been an explosion. So with explosions as well, unless there's multiple explosions going on, explosions will come from like one singular point. So you could have multiple explosions, but the explosion will come from the point. Say like if it's a bomb, or whatever. Say gas tank has blown or something. It'll come from a singular point. It won't come from multiple points within the same explosion. So you could have like multiple explosions going on. There we go. So let's make that a bit. So there we go. Kind of got a basic explosion. Comics we use speed lines as well, so we can make this explosion look a lot better as well. So we can go on, say, another layer. Let me drop the opacity of that because I can't see my guidelines, and I'm just going to put in like some black lines. And actually, to make this easier for me, if you do have Procreate, there is a tip you can use. You can go on Drawing Guide, Edit Drawing Guide, and you can go to Perspective. And on Perspectives, you can drop in perspective points anywhere along the horizon line. You can have up to 3 perspective points, delete, and you can also add a third perspective point as well, but I'm not using those, so I just want the one. So as you can see, I've put it along where the explosion is anyway. Done. And then I'll go on to my layer, and I'm going to add Drawing Assist. Let me just get my studio pen back up, and now I'm just going to start adding in these lines. So again, if you don't have Procreate, or if you're just doing this on paper, a ruler, a pencil will do. Ruler and pen, and fine liners will be fine. So these lines are like shooting out, or if it's an implosion, they're shooting in. You can have lines coming up here as well that don't go dead into the center. Right, so let me get rid of that, and then we put that up, and there we go. There's a simple explosion as well. And again, you can go in on here and you can start doing stuff like you can start adding smoke or something. So there could be smoke coming off the. Actually, why would smoke be orange? There we go. You could have smoke coming off it as well. And you got to make the sound effects when you draw it. So there we go, we got some smoke coming off as well. As well as there. If you want to make it more comic booky, just go on another layer and we'll go behind. So this is behind it, and we're going to add in some Kirby Crackle. And Kirby Crackle is just circles that go like this. So if it's more of a cosmic explosion, you want to add in these like little circles that go everywhere like this. So if you ever seen like an old Marvel book and you've seen Jack Kirby drawing all Jack Kirby's Fourth World, and you wonder what these little dots are called, they're just a little quirk the artist had, and they're called Kirby Crackle. But they add kind of like a cosmic-y feel to your explosion as well. I always think of them as like kind of dark matter or something like that. But there we go. There's a simple way to kind of draw an explosion with very rough smoke at the end. Alright, so that's the end of today's video. Okay then, I hope you have fun designing your own laser guns. And I look forward to seeing them. If you want to send them across to me, please send them to me at KevStrawlong on Instagram, or to at the Nerdherd Comic Book Club, also on Instagram. So that's it for today. I'll be back again next week with another video. Until then, keep drawing. Bye bye.